We reach that moment in our research when I need to clarify a comment that I made in one of my videos. When I said this,
I hope you guys have captured what I've said there, but basically I think that the end of the ancient Roman Empire basically happened around 337 AD with the death of Constantine.
What I meant to say was that the fall of the ancient Roman Empire happened in 476 AD, and that was the end of the ancient Roman Empire. But I'd also say the end of the Mark of the Beast system arguably happened in 337 AD when Constantine dies, and when I think Satan went into perdition to the bottomless pit for 1,000 years. I since updated this timeline to include way more dates and prophecies in Revelation with noteworthy historical events or most probable fulfillments, so check out that updated timeline here. I also want to clarify a position that I have about the vial judgments. I realize that the seal, trumpet, and vial judgments could have also been fulfilled leading up to the fall of Jerusalem in 70 AD. I can't ignore key indications that the physical and supernatural events surrounding the fall of Jerusalem grew steadily worse from seal to trumpet to vial judgments. But I also can't deny that the events leading up to the fall of the ancient Roman Empire, with the plagues, earthquakes, and socio-economic and political upheavals that the empire experienced. That having said, check out my Bible timeline and let me know what you think. Link will be in the description below. And as for this video, I'll still keep it up and update the description with the correction. Now on to Revelation 17. Revelation 17 introduces John to the identity of mystery, Babylon the Great, before her destruction in the next chapter. An angel shows him a richly adorned woman sitting on a scarlet beast with 7 heads and 10 horns, symbolizing a powerful, wealthy, and corrupt system that has influenced the kings of the earth and persecuted God's people. John is astonished by the vision, and the angel explains that the beast, its 7 heads, and its 10 horns all represent kingdoms and rulers that temporarily work together in opposition to Christ. However, despite their apparent unity, God sovereignly uses these same political powers to turn against the woman, stripping her of her wealth and destroying her. The chapter concludes by revealing that the woman represents the great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth, setting the stage for the detailed account of Babylon's fall in Revelation 18 and Christ's ultimate victory in Revelation 19. Who is involved in Revelation 17? John, the apostle who receives the vision and is shown these events by one of the angels, one of the 7 angels, one of the angels who poured out one of the 7 vial judgments. He guides John through the vision and explains the symbolism. The great harlot, Babylon the Great, the central figure of this chapter. She is described as sitting on many waters, clothed in purple and scarlet, adorned with gold and jewels, holding a golden cup of abominations, and drunk with the blood of the saints. She is ultimately identified as the great city that reigns over the kings of the earth. The scarlet beast, the beast that carries the woman, it has 7 heads and 10 horns and is described as one that was and is not and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. The angel explains its symbolic meaning. The 7 heads symbolize both 7 mountains and 7 kings, representing political power and successive rulers of kingdoms. The 10 horns, 10 kings, are the 10 rulers who receive authority for a short time. They unite with the beast, wage war against the lamb, and later turn against the woman, destroying her. The kings of the earth, earthly rulers who commit spiritual fornication with the woman and are influenced by her power and wealth. The inhabitants of the earth, those who are deceived or intoxicated by the woman's influence and marvel at the beast. The Lamb, Jesus Christ. Although he appears only briefly in this chapter, he is the victorious king who overcomes the beast and the kings allied with it. He is described as Lord of Lords and Kings of Kings. The called, chosen, and faithful, the followers of the Lamb who share in his victory. What happens in history that parallels or I believe fulfills the prophecy in Revelation 17? I believe it to be highly likely that Revelation 17 revisits the 4th kingdom of Daniel 2, the ancient Roman Empire, during which God established the everlasting kingdom through Jesus Christ. The scarlet beast represents Rome as the dominant political and military power of the 1st century, while Babylon the Great is understood by many as either imperial Rome itself. The chapter depicts Rome's wealth, influence, persecution of the saints, and eventual judgment by God, showing that the same political powers that supported Babylon ultimately turned against her to fulfill God's purposes. In this view, Revelation 17 does not introduce a new empire, but continues the story of Daniel's fourth kingdom, demonstrating that although Rome opposed Christ and persecuted his people, the Lamb ultimately overcomes every earthly kingdom, while his everlasting kingdom continues to grow, just as Daniel foretold in Daniel 2:44. What are the suggested subsequent fulfillments until we get to where we are now in the little season? Revelation 17 reveals the judgment of Babylon the Great, portrayed as a wealthy, corrupt city or system riding upon the scarlet beast, which many partial preterists identify with the ancient Roman Empire of Daniel 2. The chapter explains that although Babylon exercised political, religious, and economic influence over the nations and persecuted God's people, God ultimately decreed her destruction using the very political powers that once supported her to bring about her downfall. From the perspective of this historic postmillennial framework, the seal and trumpet judgments were fulfilled in the first century, culminating in the fall of Jerusalem, while the vial judgments culminated in God's judgment upon the ancient Roman Empire. Following that judgment came the millennial reign of Christ and the saints, with Satan bound 4,000 years. The present age is understood to be the little season of Revelation 20 verses 3, during which Satan has been released to deceive the nations once again. Those who hold this view point to what they see as increasing spiritual complacency throughout much of the Western world, where many people appear largely removed from the ongoing instability and conflicts of the Middle East and are often more focused on comfort and material prosperity than spiritual preparedness. They also point to the growing influence of religious and secular worldviews that conflict with biblical teaching, ideological movements that challenge historical Christian ethics, and the unprecedented ability of modern communication and digital technologies to spread misinformation and shape public opinion on a worldwide scale. Some who hold this view further believe that powerful international political, economic, and ideological networks are gradually moving the world toward greater worldwide centralization and conditions that could eventually culminate in the Gog Magog conflict described in Revelation 20. According to this understanding, the next major prophetic event is not another tribulation or rapture, but the Gog Magog war following the great white throne judgment and the new heavens and new earth. Anyway, if you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.